You have 5 seconds to ruin the entire wedding. What would you do? In the middle of the ceremony, stand up, interrupt the officiant, and publicly propose to someone else. Bonus points if you propose to the groom. At a reception, my wife and I were on the dance floor and I really had to fart. I figured I'd do it while the music was loud. I stood back a little from her and let it rip the very second the DJ lost power. Everyone looked our way and saw me looking at my wife. They looked at my wife. She ran off in a huff. Then I still had bad gas and was looking for a place to let it rip. The hall had some bay doors to a balcony, so I backed Maya out the doors and blasted A. I turned around to close the doors and saw the bride and groom were out there having an alone moment that I just farted on. This is the story we expected from /u/born_2_fart. Yell fire. That worked with the graduation. Pretty sure that's illegal in most states. Bribe the organist with cash to play the Phantom of the Opera theme as the bride comes down the aisle. They didn't say vastly improve the wedding. When they say you may now kiss the bride, they never specified who may kiss the bride or the specific bride. LPT. If someone ever says that to you, don't run off to another wedding and kiss another bride. Learned that the hard way. Yell to the groom, after I slept with you? This is what you do to me, and punch the bride. Edit. My first award. Thank you. Bonus points if you're a dude. Pastry chef here. I used to do a lot of wedding cakes and would have to move them to wherever the couple wanted it displayed. I always had a fantasy, if I ever decided to quit, walk out, to purposely drop the cake in front of the wedding party and act like it was an accident and just burst out in tears and storm out, never to be seen again. So to answer your question, destroy the cake or chiz on it or something, if that's your style. Puke on the cake. It was my instant thought. It's not enough to destroy the cake, you need to gross people out as well. Your child and my uterus objects. I spent 2 minutes wondering what in the world uterus objects were supposed to be. Then I realized it was a verb. Yell ho when the bride walks down the aisle. My mum did something similar at my brother's wedding. She stood up at the "Does anyone know a reason why they can't be wed" part and shouted, "They can't get married because the bride is a whore." You could have heard a pin drop before the bride burst into tears and my mum screamed as my dad dragged her from the room. It was certainly memorable. Additional. Sorry to have kept you all waiting. Yes, my brother and his wife did get married, and they are still married, but have not spoken to my mum since that day. She has bipolar and can be very unpredictable on occasion. It was something my brother and I got used to as children. I moved away very quickly as she and I were never close, but she doted on my brother. When he started seeing his wife, mum wasn't happy about losing her son and did not want them to get married. She did not want to go to the wedding, but was persuaded to go by my dad. I was very proud to be his sister that day as he did not let mum spoil the day for his wife. Thank the husband for letting me borrow his bride-to-be last night. Bonus points if you're a chick. Destroy the ring. Throw it in the volcano. This is my most upvoted comment. Propose to the bride. Imagine she says yes. Show up wearing white. Propose to my date and hijack the reception to be a celebration of our engagement. All the other answers are jokes, but this is one that actually happens. Stand up and shout "Hi, everybody, I'm the mistress." Bonus points if you're a guy. Eat the plastic dolls on top of the cake. I thought they were made out of marzipan. Ed kiss the bride. Okay, you do that, and I'd kiss the priest instead. Take off my pants and start doing the helicopter. Furiously nunchuck your ick at the bride while yelling "peanut butter jelly time." Quietly stand up and stand next to the bride as she walks up to the altar. Straight face and everything, and refuse to sit down for the entire ceremony. If nothing else, it'll make everyone question Hoss getting married to who. Edit. Wow. My first award. Thanks. Bonus points if you are normally in a wheelchair. Edit. First award. Thank you for the gold, kind stranger. Play the Reigns of Castamere. Can't believe this is the first red wedding reference on this thread. I do that Naruto finger jab thing to the brides but sending her flying into the cake. 1000 years of death. Kakash's proctology. So many people are coming up with various bits of rudeness or nudeness that amount to little more than temporary obstacles and annoyances. If you want to ruin a wedding, you're going to have to do something a bit more permanent and scarring. Poison half the drinks, so that as the ceremony begins, half of the wedding party and all the guests begin vomiting gouts of blood and dying painfully in their loved ones' arms. Drone strike the wedding party and leave the survivors to claw their way to sunlight from under a bloody pile of their friends and family. Whipping out Yorick isn't enough to ruin a wedding permanently, unless Yorick is lethal. Edit. Big shout out and thanks to all the folks at r/award speech edits. Couldn't have done it without your support and encouragement. Goodness gracious. Yell bro, isn't she the one you said was hideous? Edit. Why the duck is this so popular? At a social event one of my relatives said that a girl that walked by was completely vacuous. You guessed it, he married her less than a year later. Show up wearing a large, elaborate wedding dress, propose to the best man, cry hard when I don't get an immediate yes so my macup runs, spit on the bride, grab and kiss the groom, and run away screaming about how flat the earth is. For the visuals, I'm a 36-year-old man. This is oddly specific. Either you've been thinking about this for a while, or you watched a specific, delightfully disastrous wedding actually unfold. Claim the bride is pregnant with your child / you are pregnant with the groom's child, and have 4 seconds left to spare. I'd use that time to take a chiz on the floor while you suggest names for the baby. Iros take the Rachel. I told my husband I'd give him $100 to say take the Rachel at our wedding last summer, since my name is the same as the one Ross didn't say. He chickened out. I'm still low-key disappointed. Lob a grenade into the altar. First, shall thou take out the holy pin. Then shall thou count to 3. No more, no less. Since when did you become straight? Edit. Holy chiz. Thank you for the likes. Bonus points if it's a gay wedding. See username. Really born for this bruh. Object to the wedding. Don't marry him. You're pregnant with my child. In the middle of the best man speech, loudly scream I ducked the groom last night. Bonus points if you're a guy. Chiz, sorry everyone. I just got my COVID test back. I tested positive. That's the best one I've read on this thread till now. Just yell from a distance. This girl gave me a blowjob and now she's getting married. Even better if you record yourself saying it and play it on a Bluetooth speaker so they can't tell who it's coming from. More confusion ensues. I'm already at the wedding, so I'll just wait for me to ruin it naturally. Nus points if you kissed the priest. Kill Bill it. I mentioned this in another somewhat similar comment. I think they spent more than 5 seconds, but it wasn't much more. Destroy the paperwork. It's not official without it. Wedding basically didn't happen. I accidentally did this to myself. Took me years to figure out I wasn't technically married. 10/10ths would forget to file those papers again. A finger and a fire alarm. Repeatedly. Then, when nobody's responding to the alarms anymore, flamethrower. Bring a spoiled child to it. Bonus points if you are the spoiled child and over 20 years old. Pee on the cake. If a cake is ruined I won't say that's gonna be a sticking point of a ruined wedding in years to come. Let's amp it up. Peeing on the bride as she walks down the aisle. That has some lasting ruination power. Stand up on a high ground, and as I'm putting a golden ring on my finger I say, but they were all of them deceived, for another ring was made. I really thought this was going to go, don't try it honey. I have the high ground. Either way I wouldn't have been disappointed. Confess my hidden love for the bride and threaten to kill myself if she doesn't leave with me. Gotta talk a little faster. Just yell I love you, and if you ducking marry him, I'm gonna kill myself. Objected, say I'm in love with the groom. I'm a guy. Baby, how can you do this to me? Don't marry her. I told them about what happened during the bachelor party, with slides. Tell her I don't. I knew a guy that went to a wedding where that happened. He was excited to go as it was a destination wedding down in the Florida Keys. When he got back we asked how it went, and he said that it didn't. When it came time for the groom to say his vows he just froze and then said I can't do this before walking out. The officiant and the groom's father ran after him while everyone just sort of looked at each other and the bride stood alone at the altar crying. A few minutes later the father of the groom came back and told everyone that the wedding was off. Apparently the groom had run off and eloped with another woman months before and hadn't known how to tell his fiancée that he was already married to someone else. It might not be a drone strike or a murder like some of the other people have suggested for ruining a wedding in this thread, but I've thought about that story a lot over the years. So much worse than calling off a wedding ahead of time. Show everyone rec pics of the bride. I can't help but feel the stress should be on bride not of, unless your name's Chandler. Play the wedding march on kazoo while the couple walks to the altar. That might just make it better. Puke all over the bride after having consumed a lot of red Kool-Aid or red wine or pomegranate juice or something. Kill someone. 100% success. Only if you kill the bride or the groom it's a 100%, otherwise it's only about 98%. Push the cake on the floor. Bring a crying baby. They said 5 seconds, not ruin it instantaneously, but last 30 to 60 minutes. What are you planning to do, Opus? Yeah, I'm also very curious. Edit, please keep us updated if you do any of these. Bring a dozen rabid ferrets and let them loose after throwing food near the bride and groom. It's gonna take a lot longer than 5 seconds to round up a whole dozen rabid ferrets. Stand on a chair and faceplant into the cake, effectively destroying the cake. Act like one of the pair is cheating with me, like, name what are you doing? Drunkenly say how his underwear looks way better than the suit, wink at the groom, say, "I'll see you later tiger," and go to the bathroom. Bonus points you're a guy, and call him chief. Anything can be ruined with a strategically placed poop ceremony. Drop one on the altar reception, curl one out on the head table honeymoon suite. Have you ever had the surprise of a man jumping naked from a cupboard and defecating on the new bed linens? Trust me, nobody is getting laid after that. Run away, it's my wedding. You Mikin. I'm not alone you /Tupac bruh. Finally. Send in my very pregnant niece to glare at the groom, point at her belly and say, "You see this, Derek? This is a son. How can you be marrying this whore when our son is due in 3 weeks?" Note, I do have a niece who is due to give birth in 3 weeks, but she is happily married to the child's father. Close bracket. Can I borrow your niece this Saturday? I only need her for a few seconds. So anyway, I started blasting. Robert's got a quick hand. He'll look around the room, but won't tell you his plan. All the other kids. I stand up, confess my love to both bride and groom, and commit seppuku. During the ceremony yell, insert groom/bride's name. This is better than the last one. My friend literally did that. She yelled that they didn't have the government's permission to marry. The minister was then afraid to go on with the ceremony. The shocking thing was that she was correct. The county clerk was the groom's ex-wife, and she denied giving them a permit. Our friend the bride had no idea, so she of course was devastated. The sad thing was that before they got the mess straightened out, her father had passed away, so he couldn't walk her down the aisle. Finally a memorial post than idiots saying you should chiz or piss on the wedding dress. Kiss the wife, the husband, the parents, the jack off in the reception. In 5 seconds. Hello the Flash. Say no. Run on stage when they are kissing and pull Myrick out. Ruin the wedding. Not be the life of the party. Rickroll the ceremony. Though I don't know, that might make it better. Write a rickroll into your wedding vows. See how far you can get into the vows before anyone notices. Stand up just as they start the vows and yell that I'm in love with the bride. You can ruin any social situation by whipping out your wiener and screaming the N-word until someone forcibly removes you. Remember, you've spent a lifetime earning the reputation you currently have, and you could flush it all down the drain in 5 seconds if you wanted to. Reveal that the bride has been cheating on her groom for years. Bonus points if you haven't. Yell, "Aren't you the priest who raped my little brother, you rapist?" Or swan dive into the cake yelling "swan dive." Or bring 10 perfume bottles and pour them out in various places. Mix bleach and ammonia and kill everybody. There's so many things you could do. I'd yell, "The prophecy commences. The Antichrist's future parents are being Wednesday." Thank you for joining us in this alcohol-free wedding. Open the goddamn door and call the groom's bride a whore. Drop a turd in the middle of the aisle while singing Katy Perry's Firework. Apostrophe. Head to the altar and whip it out. Yell Siri, say I do at the crucial moment. Genital warts. Nice Family Guy reference. Propose to the bride/groom/priest during ceremony. Oh my, you watched until the end? That's fucking awesome, dude. Thanks for watching.